Ola Electric. We'll move on to our guest and introduce our today's guest for the show. Joining us today are Ajit, founder and MD of Economics, and Ajit Mishra, Senior Vice President of Religare working on the research side. So,
Pritesh Ranjan Hendalia, who is holding 928 shares of Ola Electric at an average price of 123.8 rupees, and he also wants the outlook. I'll come to you, Ajit. I know the stock's only listed for less than a week, but how does it look on the charts, and what are your views on the same?
Hi, good morning. So, post this muted start, now we have started seeing the stock is gaining traction. Today also we are seeing, 20% circuit in the stock with noticeable surge in the buyers. So I feel that if somebody is trading for this momentum, they should be very disciplined about maintaining stop losses. So since we have very limited data to comment upon based on the recent price action, but I feel that 120 is the area basically where one can maintain stop if somebody is just chasing this momentum and keep on trading their stop losses on rise. But otherwise, from the long-term perspective, we have shared our neutral rating in the IPO note, considering that the company's revenues have witnessed a sharp jump in the recent year, but still they need to see the profitability. So that is the major, catch that if somebody is looking for the long-term investment.
Okay, so that's the view on Emcure Pharma.
So, see, Emcure, after the listing, we have been seeing, gradual drift, and the stock is trading closer to its recent lows. See, within the pharma space, we are seeing a mixed trend. It means some of these pharma counters, they are holding strong. So stock like Sun Pharma, Lipton. So I feel that in a market like this, wherein the index is trading at the record highs, if the view is short term, the position should be aligned to what the sector performers or the index performers are behaving. So as of now, I feel that if the view is short term, then you can exit from this position and switch to the top performers like Sun Pharma and Lipton. And if the view is long term, then you can definitely stay put.
I'll take up the next query. He should add or he should sell. Ajit, I'll come to you. How does the stock look on the chart?
So in fact, mostly stocks from the defense basket are seeing a similar trend that after a phenomenal surge, they have retraced roughly around 20-30% from the recent highs. And still we are seeing, the selling pressure continuing. I would not recommend to add to your loss-making position if it's a short-term trade, and at the same time, now 1150 should be your closing stop, because the way it moved up from 400 to 1700, it was almost vertical. So in case if it corrects and fails to hold 1150, then this correction may deepen further and the stock may retrace to 900 also. So if the view is short term, definitely you should maintain stop. And in case of recovery, I feel that 1500, 1550 is going to be the area where it might face resistance. So around that area, you can plan to reduce your position as well.
All right, that's a fair point. But now coming on to another
Ajit, I'll come to you. What are your views in the counter?
On the OMC space, largely most of the stocks they have done well. And in fact, after the recent uptick in the crude oil prices, also we have not seen any major damage to the prices. So that is definitely a comforting factor, because the stock is still holding around its record highs. So I feel that if the view is short term, then you can maintain a stop at 315 for BPCL, and you can maintain your longs, and eventually 365 to 370 is the first area, and then around 380 is something that one can target.
Okay, so 380 is the one that we can target for BPCL. But now moving back to the different chart.
So I completely agree with Mr. Choklingam that the valuation part is definitely a critical concern. Plus the kind of move that we have had in most of these, defense-related stocks, they moved up almost 3 times, 4 times in the last 1 year. So they were extremely overbought, and now we are seeing a healthy correction. Earlier we were largely seeing a time-wise correction, but now we have started seeing price-wise correction also. So that 90% is already down in this month so far. And in case if it fails to hold 3,500 mark, then this correction may deepen further towards 3,000, 2,800 levels. So around that area, I feel that it might take a breather because that would be roughly around 38 to 40% retracement of the entire move that we had in the stock in the recent past. So around 2,800, 2,750 zone is something that one can look to add if the view is long term.
Got it, Ajit. Thank you so much. So that's bearish outlook for BML from both the fundamental and technical depth. But it's time for a short break. But do stay tuned as we address more queries on the other side.
I'll come to you, Mr. Mishra, over here. What is your outlook on Kalyan Jewellers?
So mostly, stocks in the jewelry space, they are buzzing, and Kalyan Jewellers is currently holding its record high despite the volatility which we are seeing in the market. So that clearly shows that the outperformance within this space, and I feel that one can stay put. They can, in fact, look for fresh longs also around the current levels. Citing the volatility in the market, the stop loss should be at 550 for this position, and 625, 630 should be your position target.
Thank you, Ajit, for giving us that outlook. The next query we have is from Jaya Chandran, and he's holding 400 shares of Suzlon Energy at a buying price of 41 rupees, and he wants a long.
So now it looks slightly overbought to us, considering the recent surge, especially in the last leg of the up move from 40 to 80. So if the view is short term, then definitely one should be very strict with the stop losses. 74 is the area basically where we have multiple supports. If it breaks, then definitely you should exit if the view is short term.
So 74 is the area that we are looking at but now I'll just focus back to HPCL in the oil and gas space. Dayanand Shetty over here is holding.
So I would not add, but definitely I'll hold because as we were discussing about VPCL also. The good part is that they're still holding around the record high, so that shows resilience in a market like this. And the recent correction is also very more of time wise. So there could be in the next leg of the up move which can help the stock to inch toward 420, 430. But around that area, it might get into the overbought zone. So fresh adding, since we have already bought it at very lower levels, 270, 280. So it's prudent that if you book profits around 420, 430 area.
Got it. Booking profits at a price target of 420, 428. The next query is from Rajesh Maheshwari. Now, Rajesh is holding 550 shares of IEX, this is Indian Energy Exchange, and he's bought it at a price at 225, and he wants a short to medium term outlook. Ajit, I'll come to you first. 225 is just much higher than what the stock is currently trading at. What are your views on the chart?
So he has waited for more than a year now, considering that the stock price was at this level in April 2022. So since we have started seeing sign of reversal on both short-term and medium-term charts, there's a possibility the stock might inch toward 216, 220 zone in a month or two. So definitely you can stay put, but now at least this time around you should maintain stop losses. If it's a short to medium term position, and I feel that 180 is the area basically on the closing this should be your stop, and around 220 you should definitely relook whether the stock manages to hold this zone or not. Otherwise you can reduce your position.
Thank you, Ajit. And Mr. Chokalingam, your outlook on IEX?
If it goes move close to 200, one can definitely sell it because it is no longer enjoying a monopoly status in power exchange business. NSE, BSE ventures have also got into this, and which is, I believe, highly negative because these two exchanges have got many other businesses. So therefore, they can easily invest a lot of money and increase their market share in the power exchange. So I believe medium to long term perspective, it's not a good stock to own. Therefore, if it moves close to 200, one can sell IEX.
Okay, so a negative outlook for the medium to short term outlook for IEX over here. But now, what is your view on Aarti Industries?
So in this week so far we have seen almost 19% kind of a cut. The stock is hovering around major averages. So I feel the downside seems capped in the current level. So if the view is medium term, then one can continue to look at 550 being the critical area. In case if it fails to hold, then this correction may deepen further. So that is around 7 to 8% down from the current levels. So if you are okay with that, then you can continue to stay put. And in case of rebound, if the view is short term, then use any recovery towards 650 to 670 area to reduce your position if it's a trading bet.
Oh, thank you, Ajit, for that outlook. The next stock we have in focus is Tata Steel. Now, it's up in today's day of trade.
Below the major averages also. So, definitely the tone has turned negative, but due to the oversold position, we might see some respite, some leader, and some recovery towards 152 levels. So, around that area, you should definitely look to exit your longs. Because the bias has turned negative altogether for Tata Steel, at least in the short term. And in the interim, do maintain a stop at 144 also.
All right. Now moving on to Patel Engineering. Nikhil from Kerala is holding about 500 shares of this stock, and he wants to understand the fundamental outlook. So I want to come to you, Mr. Chokalingam, on this one. He has bought it at a buying price of about 51.
So it's been a steady performer, since last several years, and but yes, of late we started seeing some profit taking at the higher levels. The stock has slipped below the short-term averages also. So that indicates a possibility of at least some consolidation after this recent surge, and it might retrace to this level of around 1350, 1300 before forming any base. So if the view is short term, definitely around that area one can look for fresh buying. If you have an existing position, you may reduce at the current levels and look to re-enter around 1300, 1350.
Reduce the current levels and then enter at 1300 is what Ajit is saying. But, on that note, we are, out of time for this show. And Mr. Chokalingam and Ajit, thank you so much for joining us today and helping us solve the viewer queries. Yes. Well, that's a wrap on this edition of Ask Profit. But we'll be back at the same time on Monday, and you can send your queries for that below. But just stay tuned to NDTV Profit. Lots more lined up on the other side.